welcome or welcome back to the Demigodly Riku channel. I'm the Demigodly Riku, also known as Rex, and this year was the shittiest year of my life. So, let's yap about it. Alright, so this is the third episode in the Let's Yap About It series. My other two episodes, one is one is scripted, and then this one is going to be not scripted at all. And this is just me testing out to see which one is a better format, which one I can last longer in talking with, because I know my scripts tend to be quite short, and I have a really hard time with lengthening my scripts. So maybe this one, where I'm just talking to a microphone, maybe it'll last longer. Oh, excuse me. And so this one is also going to be uncut, kind of like a podcast, whatnot, as well as I will be talking about deeper topics today. It's called the shittiest year of my life. I'm going to be talking about the shitty things, such as surgery, PTSD, and just overall bad things. So if you're like easily triggered by things like that, you can click off this. I won't mind. You can go watch any of my other videos. You're good. Or you can not watch my videos at all. I'm chill with that. I don't know how to talk for long portions of time, so if this is scuffed, it's scuffed. I'm sorry. So, this year, really... Oh, also, my dogs are in the background, so sorry about that. So this year, it's supposed to be great because this was my graduation year, meaning I'd be done school and I would just have to go through college and then I'm completely done. But that's in that sense, it made the year a lot better. It's one of the sprinkles that made it nice, but it's kind of like it's not a sorry, I have a terrible stutter. It's not one of those great things that makes it it's not one of the ones that makes it amazingly awesome year. But it's definitely one of the good sprinkles. And when I think of this year, I'm definitely gonna try and make sure I think of my graduation instead of things like this. But I just wanted to come on here. I just wanted to talk about why this year was kind of shitty for me. Anyways, so this year, yes, I had my graduation, but this year I also had the year of I had a double bone binding surgery on both. No, I had a tri bone binding surgery on both my legs. And if you don't know what that means, basically, I had 3 different sets of bones broken and remended in my legs. That way that way my feet would be straighter. That way I could have the possibility of being taken out of my leg braces. And it is so far working. I have been moving slowly into an SMO rather than my 2 AFOs. And it's going well. It's going well. I'm having a little issues sometimes because my balance isn't the greatest because I've been in leg braces for only, like, I've been in leg braces for my whole life, and they've been my pure sense of balance for my whole life. So my SMO I'm still working on my balance with that, but otherwise I'm doing quite well. But the surgery caused a lot of issues in my life. Basically, the surgery, well, it started off with having to have me quit dance because, well, if you didn't know, you probably you don't know, actually. Dance, I have been doing that for the past 8 years, and I had to quit because of the bone binding surgery, because I wasn't allowed to put any weight, any pressure on my legs for the first 6 weeks after the surgery was finished. Meaning, I got really upper body strong, but I got really screwed over in the legs department. I even gained quite a lot of weight. It wasn't the nicest, it wasn't the best, it wasn't my favorite, but, things happen, I'm holding my breath a lot. I should not be holding my breath. Anyways, yeah, no. So I had to quit dance. And so the first time, I didn't quit dance the first time. So my leg braces broke in dance one day, and I ended up crying in dance that day, because I was upset that I couldn't do dance without my braces, and I wasn't sure after that if I would be able to get my braces fixed in time to still dance for a couple more weeks before my surgery. And I did. I got them fixed. It was perfectly fine. And so the next time I quit, the next time I was finished dance, I cried again. I didn't cry in the studio this time because, I walked out of the studio, I said all my goodbyes, and then I got into the car and I realized, I was like, oh shit, this was my last time dancing for a while, and I just sat there and oh, sorry, I just got a text. I just sat there and I just cried. I didn't know what else I could do. I had to cry, and so I did. I cried. you know, um, and always, if you have to cry in order, even if it's just an emotion, if you have to cry, then cry. Um, and that's kind of what I did. Hold on, I gotta text my mom back. Okay, yeah, sorry. um, yeah, if you have to cry, then cry. Make sure to cry if you need it. Basically, so yeah, I cried. I cried in the car, and I cried pretty much all the way home. And then so we got home, and then the very next day at school, basically, I got home, and I sat there. I got home. I pondered on the fact that I was done dance. Uh, because I'm just so upset about it. I'm still kind of upset about it because dance is like one of my favorite things. It's one of the things that makes me really happy because it's a lot of workout, but it's like, because working out, it gives you dopamines. It makes you laugh. And I had a lot of friends there, so I was very upset that I had to quit dance. So I went to school the next day, and it was only a few days left until I stopped being a TA in my classroom because of the semester switch. And so it was like 2 days until the semester switch. And so, I still had TAing to look forward to. So I TA'd until the semester switch, and then the semester switched, and then I just had to sit there because I only had one class a day after that. It wasn't my favorite. I get really bored without any extra classes. I have nothing to do really, so and so the semester switched. I was sat there. I had one class a day, and then and then 2 days later, I had to go down to the city to get my surgery to the children's hospital. I went and got my surgery, and so surgeries aren't fun. So I had my surgery. There's a couple videos of me high. It's really funny. Um, so I went and had my surgery, and I had pins sticking out my toes. I had pins sticking out of everything because my body they had to keep the bones together somehow, right? So I got home, and so that whole week of staying, I'd stayed in a week. I stayed for the in I still. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. That was like a terrible stutter right there. My I had to stay in the hospital for a week after the surgery, and that was like the worst week ever. um, Except for, you know what? There was one good thing about that week, and it was the fact that Mumbo Jumbo posted twice that week, and I was like so happy about that. I was watching him high. I was like having the best time of my life. Oh my gosh. uh, yeah, so I was watching Mumbo Jumbo high in the hospital. If Mumbo Jumbo ever sees this video, I bet he's gonna feel so flattered. Oh my gosh. Anyways, so yeah, that was pretty fun, and I read a few fan fictions while I was in there, because I had to. And then Joel was also hosting his fan art competition. I did some fan art. I didn't enter it because I couldn't bother to move my hand. Because I had IVs in both of my hands, and I had like tubes coming out all my chest and whatnot, and so I didn't want to bother dealing with dealing with, digital art and whatnot. I only did a paper version of it. I might show it on screen, I might not. It really depends on my editing mood. My editing mood after this. So, yeah, no. I just kind of, you know, it wasn't the greatest of weeks. Even though I sat there and got to watch Bumbo Jumbo High. But yeah, so after that week, I went home, and they were like, hey, yeah, you've got Advil, you've got Tylenol, these are the two medications you will be on, just to relieve your pain and reduce swelling and whatnot. So, and it was up to me to try and wean myself off of it in order to, like, and it was a slow process. I think the first 3 weeks I spent at home, I was taking those medications, and I tried to wean myself off of them by the second week, and I just couldn't because it hurt so bad. Um, Obviously, my bones had been broken and remended, so yes, it hurt. It hurt a lot. um, and I couldn't sit on the couch. All I could do was stay in my bed all day because the couch, I had no I had no ability to move myself around on the couch, um because our couch is really small, so it was just sitting in one direction, and I couldn't put my feet up. It was nothing. It was not great. So I had to sit in my bed. It wasn't even my bed. It was a hospital bed lended to us that had leg movability features, because I had to have my legs up because bones. I had to have my bones broken and remended. So yeah, there was a lot of swelling. So I had to constantly have my feet up. Yeah, and there's not much I too much remember from that surgery from the time I spent at home, because I think I blocked out a lot of that because it was traumatic. It wasn't fun for me. I think I cried at least 5 times a week. Because yeah. Um and I think at one point I was in my wheelchair. I sat there. I went up to my mom. I went, I don't think I'm happy with this surgery, and I don't think I ever will be, that I got it. Um and so far that kind of does ring true. I am not happy that I got it because it's not, I just haven't seen the progress that I want to see so far, and I'm just, I'm a little moody. I'm a little girl teenager. I want to see more progress than I'm seeing. um yeah, so that I cried a lot, and then we went back to the city after 6 weeks, which was the amount of time I had to spend with the pins in my feet. And after that 6 weeks, we went back to the city. We got them all taken out, and I was put into walking casts to let my legs heal for a little longer. And so when I was in the walking casts, as soon as I okay, I'll tell you a funny story. This is hilarious. You're gonna love this. Trust. So basically, once they took or to get the pins out, they sat me in the hospital bed there, and I'm terrified of needles. I'm terrified of any kind of needle, except for apparently tattoo needles, because I once gave myself a stick and poke. Anyways, yes. So I am terrified of needles. I can't do IVs unless they're already in me, and so I just, like, when 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 I went into the hospital room, or the OR, before my surgery, I almost had a panic attack right then and there when they tried to give me the IV, and so they had to put the gas mask on me. So this time they were like, "Hey, do you want this medication that'll basically chill out your brain to make it so you can take an IV better?" And I'm like, "Sure, why not?" And I guess they gave me too much, and so my brain was already shut off completely. It was like an anesthetic basically to my brain. Um and so by the time I was in the OR, I wasn't realizing my brain was shut off. I was practically asleep already. So I guess they put the IV in me, and they did the surgery on, or like not the surgery, the pin pulling on me, and then they took me back into the non-OR, like the wake up room, the place where you wake up after a surgery, and they woke me up, and basically they're like, okay, you're done. I'm like, what do you mean I'm done? You haven't done anything yet. And they sat there, they're like, yeah, we did. We finished. Your pins are all out. I'm like, what do you mean? No, they're not. and and then basically, I guess I finally clocked the fact that they were done. They finished everything already, and I just sat there. I was like, no. Was that the medication that did that? And I guess I clocked onto the fact that the medication turned my brain off. And I was like super high at this point. So I started yelling at this poor nurse. I started yelling at this poor nurse. Like she sat there, she's trying to argue with me. I'm like, "No, you gave me this medication to chill out my brain so I could get a needle better." And then it turned off my brain entirely, so I didn't even know I was getting the needle. That's not me being brave, that's just you drugging me, essentially. And I argued that with the nurse over and over again, and she tried to argue with me back, and I kept arguing the exact same point because I knew it was right. And even in high, I knew that was right. And I feel so bad for that nurse now. But basically, so after that, she left. She was done with arguing with me, and I was so pissed. I was just sitting there. I was so mad. I was so mad. And so my dad, he comes back with like a Starbucks drink, um, and he gives it to me, and he looks me, he tells me, he's like, I just watched them play rock paper scissors to see who had to deal with you, and oh my gosh, that is the most hilarious thing ever. Oh, just the fact that they had to play rock paper scissors to see who had to deal with me. Oh my gosh, it was great, man. um, yeah, and so, so I finished that drink. It wasn't a great drink. It was like kind of crappy. And so I tried to stand up because those were my walking casts, right? I tried to stand up, and immediately I almost fell over. I'm like not balancing great, and I sat there. I almost cried right there because I was like, I can't walk yet. And my mom's like, well, yeah, you're high, one, and two, you just got the pins out, and you haven't walked in about 6 weeks. So, yeah, and I'm like sat there like, I'm like panicking. I'm sitting there unhappy, crying, and just super panicked over the fact that maybe my muscle has atrophied and maybe my legs won't work like they used to. Spoiler alert, they were fine. I just didn't have the balance I was supposed to have because I hadn't walked in 6 weeks. Uh, and so yeah, we went home that day. No, the next day. And so basically, yeah. Um, so I napped in the car pretty much the whole way home. It was great. We got blankets so I could like have them in the car. Like we went to the store and we bought blankets that day. It was a really nice blanket. It's really soft, and we got some pillows. The pillows are nice too. It's like, oh my gosh, those are like some of my favorite blanket and pillows. Um, so we went home. No, we slept at my dad's hotel, and then we went home, and I was really upset by the fact that I was just stuck and I couldn't do much. So I was stuck either downstairs in my bedroom because I got to finally go back downstairs, and I was so happy because I got to sleep in my own bed. Uh, Granted, I ruined my bed sheets because, casts aren't great for bed sheets. Um, so I essentially, over the 6 weeks that I had my walking cast, I essentially just ripped my bed sheets to shreds. It was great. um, oh, excuse me, that was disgusting. I'm disgusting. um, so I ripped up my bed sheets while sleeping for the 6 weeks, and for the first week, you're gonna think this is gross, but I had a commode in my bedroom, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically a portable shitter because it's not like I was able to get upstairs at night by myself because yeah, it's I had just got the walking cast on. I could hardly walk to the commode, which was in my bedroom, like 10 steps away from my bed. So, yeah. So and one night, after I had I just gone pee is great. I'm peeing in my own bedroom. It sucked. It was gross, and the commode is like one of my worst enemies, and I would never wish that on anybody else. I would never wish the commode on anybody else. Basically, one night I had just finished peeing in the commode. I had managed to stand the whole time because if you don't know, you don't know. Basically, I stand up to pee because it's part of my disability. I have to catheterize to pee, and so I stand up to catheterize because it's more comfortable for my body. And so I had managed to stand up to pee that whole time. And then as I was cleaning myself up, as I was throwing everything away, I fell right over. I just fell, and I sat there and cried on the floor. It was not fun. Crying crying in your bedroom next to a pot of piss isn't the best. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is things I would have never thought I would reveal to YouTube, but here I am. um, yeah. So, cried next to a pot of my own piss. uh, oh my gosh. Okay. Yes. So, and then slowly I got more comfortable with walking again, and I got really good at walking in my casts, and I absolutely wrecked those casts. And my doctor, my lovely doctor, she as soon as she saw them to go take them off, and after the 6 weeks of walking casts had passed, she took them off, and she just she saw them and just sighed at me. She just sighed at me. She's like, well, at least I know you're walking. So yeah, that was fun. And then after I got my walking casts taken off, I I ended up I ended up getting my leg braces back, my AFOs instead of my SMO. My SMO wasn't made until later, so I had my AFOs, and I had to wear those for a solid 6 weeks. I was only allowed to take them off for about an hour a day ish, an hour to 2 hours a day. And I had to sleep in them, which is the most dreadful thing ever. Like, sleeping in a cast, that's fine. Sleeping in leg braces, absolute shittiest thing ever. Would not recommend. And I wear leg braces all day, every day. I sleeping in them, no. Sleeping in them sucks. I hate doing it, and if you have to do it, I feel for you. All my condolences, bestie. So I got my leg braces. I had to sleep in them, and I had to wear them full time for 6 weeks, and oh, excuse me. Yeah, I had to sleep in them for 6 weeks, and then finally, after that 6 weeks passed, I finally was able to walk. I was allowed to walk around without them, and I was allowed to stop wearing them at night. Thank gosh. Thank gosh. Oh my gosh, I hate sleeping in leg braces so much. I just hate it. I can't do it. But yeah, as I started to remove them more often, I got to see how my feet were looking, how in general my legs looked. And I still kind of hate the new look of them. I'm still getting used to the brand new scars on my legs. 'Cause I already had a big fat surgery scar on my one foot, and now I have two big fat surgery scars on both my feet. So, like, or at least I've got two on one foot, I've got one on the other. So it's a lot to get used to. And randomly, when my foot was swelled, yeah, the scars won't swell along with it, so it just looks like I have this big indent in my foot, and it's a little scary, to see. I've taken pictures of my feet being really swollen, and it's like terrifying. It looks like that it's about to rip. It um 10 out of 10 would not recommend. um yeah. So yeah, I'm still getting used to I'm not getting used to walking without them. I'm getting used to walking around in places where I would usually walk with my leg braces with instead of using my leg braces, I'm getting used to using my SMO and an insole in my shoe instead of my AFOs, which is strange. I'm very much not used to it, and having I'm and usually I just call my leg braces, but since there's now a difference between which leg brace I'm wearing, between the SMO and the AFO, I have now taken up calling them my AFOs and SMOs, or SMO, singular, not plural, because I have multiple AFOs, but I have one SMO, unless you count the one I had when I was a child, but I'm not going to do that. Yeah, so I've gotten used to saying that, and so basically, you would think since I'm pretty much almost fully healed from that surgery, you would think that I'd be better. I'm not. I'm still dealing with some extra trauma left behind from the idea of having uh, so many IVs stuck in my body, because I already hated the idea of IVs from my childhood because in my childhood I had a lot of surgeries as well, um, but this time they had put 4 different IVs in my hands, and I've got pictures of all the bruising, and it's crazy, and it's not. I can show it on camera. I don't know if I'm gonna show it on camera. It depends on my editing mood, like I said earlier. So yeah, I had several bruises on my hands, and at one point I even dislodged one of the IVs, and it hurt so bad. Um, and like whenever they would put the saline solution into my IV, that would hurt, and everything hurt, and it's left me with a lot of not fun trauma. And if you can't see the camera right now, but I'm currently squishing my hands between my stomach and my legs because my brain has just now I'm talking about it, and it just I can feel the phantom pains of it. I'm not sure if it would be called phantom pains because it's not. I didn't lose a limb, but I can still feel what it would feel like to have the IV in my body, basically. And that's not fun. And whenever anybody approaches me with a needle, I get terrified, and I get really panicky, and I almost always have a panic attack, and I just can't handle it. But yeah. And then okay, so that's the story of my surgery and the PTSD it's left me with. Um, there's also the fact that when I was 16, on my 16th birthday, I went and took my L test. Sorry. And if you don't know, basically, if you're a driver in Canada or a new driver in Canada, you get your L, you take your test for your L, and then you have to drive for a year with your L, and then you can go take a test for your N. And basically, my test, because of my surgery, got postponed for about 2 years. I'm 17 now, and I've now got my L back because I had to go get driver's rehab assessment because of the fact that I'm disabled. And so basically, I got my L when I was 16, and then I turned. I don't know when I got the letter, and then we handed in my disability form to tell the ICBC people that I have a disability and they need to assess me for it. And then they took forever to send me the letter saying that I wasn't allowed to drive at all unless I had a rehab assessment person in the car with me. And so when we got that letter, it was about a few weeks before my surgery, so it was fine. But we still had to, after my surgery, we still had to wait until the rehab assessors would see me. And now they have, and I've got, like I said, I've got my L back, so now I can drive again. And then I've got my driver's test on September 11th. 9/11, I know. uh, that's so stupid. That's so stupid. Okay. Yeah, no, yeah, so, but basically that took years, and I remember crying about it quite a few times because I've cried a lot about my disability this year because it's been ruining my life for the past year, and so that's why this year sucks. That's why this year's kind of shitty for me. You know, my disability has been ruining my life for forever, basically. But this year, it really just went full throttle and went, you don't get to be happy this year. You don't get to be. And I've pushed through, and I am happy still. I don't think I could be unhappy. I'm just that kind of person who's just extra happy-go-lucky, you know, because I'm just that kind of person. I like to push through, and so should you. You have this shitty thing going on. Don't worry, it gets better. Unless you've got a chronic illness, then it. I mean, I'm not saying that a chronic illness won't get better, but you will get. Sometimes it will fluctuate. It will get bad. It will get shitty. You will hate life. Sometimes it will be the worst thing that could living could be the worst thing that could possibly happen to you in a single moment because of your chronic illness. And technically my disability is considered a chronic illness too, I guess. I don't know. It's going to be the shittiest thing that you're ever going to go through. But you will always push through. You will find new ways to deal with it. And no matter what, you'll be okay by the end of it. I believe in you. I believe in me. I believe in all of us. And if you're able-bodied, I believe in you too. You go, fam. uh, uh, yeah. Basically, that's my shitty year. Thank you so much for listening. This is not long enough to be considered podcast, I don't think, unless it is. I think most podcasts are like an hour long, but you know, I can't talk for that long, at least not by myself, and I'm surprised that I've even talked for 30 minutes by myself. Either way, thank you for listening. If you like my stuff, if you like art, if you like gaming, if you like just listening to people talk, please like and subscribe. I have an art Discord channel down in the description. Yeah. Sorry that this is kind of scuffed. This is my first time talking without a script. Or, not the first time I've talked without a script, sorry. It's just like, you know, the first time I've made a podcast-like thing without a script. Either way, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!